Hey, chat. What's up? How's it going? What's up, Wing Chun? Hey, Joshua. What's up, Hope? Oh, Lin homies now, huh? You've given up the Lin family name just because I said so. Why did you give up so easily, huh? Disappointed. Is it Lin homies now? What's up, Casey? How's it going? Tonight is supposed to be a good chapter. Yes. Last chapter was pretty good, right? Yeah, I think this chapter is going to be really good. Unless it's the next one. I don't know. I just remember what this scene is supposed to be. So I think it's going to be this chapter. What's up, Nikki? How's it going? Hey, Logan. Nice of you to join. Lin homies. Alright. Shall we do the Wordle for the day? Hold on. Alright. I'm getting pretty good at this, okay? So it's going to be really quick, alright? Like 2 minutes at most. Let's do this. Alright, alright. It's always good that it's to get the first letter. Say S-E-I. S-E-I. Sight. Sights. Shite. Shite. S-E-I-S. Chic. Shine, shine, shibe. No, that doesn't sound right. Shine. No. S-E. Sight, but it can't be an. S-I-E. S-E-N. S-E-I. S-E-L. Seg. Seth. Said. So. Sequel. No. So. Segue. Sight. Yeah, let's eliminate some consonants, no? Oh. G-H-T. Sight. Okay, okay. S-E? S-H. E-I. H-I. Shine. Shine. Yes. What was that? 3 minutes? Pretty good. Not bad. Oh, you did the university, the Wordle Python program? How long did it take you? Should have been easy, right? They make a blueberry muffin Kit Kat. Hey, what's the best Kit Kat flavor? Is it matcha? It might be matcha. I love matcha. Took you 2.5 hours for the Python thing? Not bad. Not bad. Alright, you know what I want to do? I wanna learn geography. Okay, I want to learn all the countries in the world. Okay. I remember we did those geography tests. Let's keep doing them. Right, we just keep doing them until I learn all the countries in the world. How come our Wordle word is different today? I don't know. Different time zones? No, wait, you live in a... Yeah, I don't know. Hey, Trenton Quarantino. Thank you so much for the super chat. They took shite as a word. Wait, really? Is that, does it have a appropriate? No, it does mean shit. Okay. I didn't expect that they would take that word. All right, let's do some geography tests. Okay, I'm going to learn all of the countries in the world. Not right now, but we'll go like in different parts of the world one by one. Right. Let's do a North America. North America geography test. No, I don't want a North and Central America. I want a North America. Oh, there's more than I thought. This is North and Central. I just wanted a North America. All right, fine. Mexico, United States. Oh God, I have no idea. I wanted a map with just Mexico, United States, and Canada, but I guess we're not getting that. What's Guatemala? I have no idea, guys. Oh, okay. Costa Rica. It's either this one or this one, right? This is Peru. No, that's not Peru. This is Cuba. Costa Rica. Is this Costa Rica? Haiti. Okay, that's not even close. Oh God, how is that Costa Rica? Jamaica. Belize? I have no idea. What is Belize? Okay, Panama. It's gotta be this one. That's where the canal is. Canada, Cuba, Honduras. El Salvador, Haiti, Nicaragua. Wait, where was it? Oh God. Alright, not bad. I'm not gonna lie, I guessed on some of it. Alright, not bad. Alright. We're gonna keep playing this until I know all of it. But not in one day. Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica. Let's look at a real map, okay? And Central. Guatemala, Belize, Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and Panama. Guatemala, Belize. If only I knew something about these countries. Guatemala, Belize, El Salvador, Honduras. All right, we'll try next time. Next time, kids. The Animaniac song? I know that song. That was a good song. Did the last video get copyrighted? Yeah, I watched some YouTube videos in the last video and it got copyrighted. But I had to, so I cut them out. Those parts should be already cut out now, so it's not copyrighted anymore. So you should be able to see the last chapter. Yeah, so you should be able to see the last video. Who knew Belize was there? I didn't even know. Okay. Are we ready? Are we ready? All right. So what happened? Oh wait, gotta eat, right? I got this. It's like a cake kind of thing. All right. Let's see how this tastes. Hold on. Okay. Okay. Yay. Cake. Ooh. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. A little bit of a green tea taste. A little bit of a matcha taste. And it has little chocolate chips in it. Can you see? It's pretty good. Yeah. And it's not too big. So the portion is not too big. It's pretty good. I like the texture too. I'm gonna give it a 7. Hold on. All right. So what happened last week? Last week, we were in the middle of our coup attempt to depose Chao Feng by rebels in the Beggars clan, right? So remember the clan has 6 elders, and 4 of them are part of the conspiracy, right? And they locked up the rest, right? They locked up the other 2 elders who they knew would not go along. They locked them up on a boat. Now, Chao Feng subdued the leader, and he had his men free the imprisoned elders. Right, so now they're free. So the loyalists they beat the coup attempt. So now they're questioning the rebel leaders. Right now, it's kind of strange the reason why they rebelled. Kind of suspicious, because everyone agrees that Chao Feng is like a pretty good leader. Right, he's been a pretty good chief. So and everyone is like beating around the bush. No one wants to kind of reveal why they agreed to do this. And then they talk to when they talk to the leader of the rebellion, Cheng Guanqing. He accuses Chao Feng of killing the vice chief Ma Dayuan, but he doesn't seem to kind of believe it that strongly, and he also doesn't have much evidence of it, right? So it's just a suspicion. So it seems to be that something deeper is going on, right? People are hiding something that they don't want to reveal. Now, in the Beggars clan, the penalty for treason is death. So the 4 elders, they agree to die with honor, right? They agree to kill themselves. But when the first elder, he tries to kill himself, Chao Feng stops him, and he reminds everyone of this elder's deeds in helping beat back the Khitan invasion of Song China. Right, so he says that this guy is really good. He has a lot of good deeds in the past, right? He's a very patriotic person. And then Chao Feng stabs himself in the shoulder, right? So why do you do this? In the Beggars clan rules, you can pardon someone by shedding your own blood. So Chao Feng, he does this for all 4 elders, right? And for each person, he reminds people of their own deeds. So each of the 4 elders did some great deed to help push back this Khitan invasion of Song China. So we can see that Qiao Feng and the Beggars Clan, they're very patriotic people of Song China. So and in the end, Qiao Feng ends up with 4 huge knives stuck in his shoulders because he's a badass, right? And everyone is like emotional and grateful, and they regret their actions. But this ain't over yet. It ain't over yet. A messenger arrives, gives Qiao Feng a pouch from some spy in Western Xia, and it's like it's supposed to be a critical military report. Qiao Feng opens it, but before he could read it, some retired elder of the Beggars Clan comes from out of nowhere and tells him to stop. And that's where we left off. Yeah. I'm doing this on Mondays now. It's always been on Mondays. I think the previous book, we were doing it on Sundays, but now we're doing these on Mondays. All right. So I wanted to do a little geography lesson today. Let's see if we can do it. All right. I just recently woke up. I took a nap and I woke up. So I'm kind of a little bit still a little bit sleepy, but hopefully this goes all right. Great recap, 7 out of 10. Thanks a lot, Joshua. I appreciate it. Song China. Song China. All right, so this is Song China. This is where the story takes place. Right, this is Dali. This is Duan Yu's country. And we had Dai Viet. This is my ancestors. Yeah, they're there too. Cool. We have the Tibetans. We have Western Xia, which we were talking about. And this is Liao. So Liao is the Liao dynasty. This is, they are the Khitans, right? So whenever in the book they talk about the Khitans, this is this dynasty. So the Khitan, they actually invaded Song China. But they were stopped. They didn't get that far, right? They didn't get that far. They were pushed back. And according to the story, a lot of the Beggars Clan elders, they helped in pushing back the Khitan invasion. Now, this is Song China. Yeah, it's always weird when you talk about ethnic groups and like which ethnic groups control which lands, which territories. Because like, how long do you have to stay? How long can you stay in a territory before it becomes your land? Like, there's no real answer, right? The invaders would call it their land, and the people who were being invaded, they would say that no, it's my land, right? It's our land. So we don't. Yeah. So it's kind of weird. This is Song China, right? But I think the Liao people, they also consider themselves Chinese. There's this school of thought that, like modern Chinese people have. There's a school of thought in modern Chinese people that the Han Chinese are real Chinese. Like Han Chinese people are the true Chinese. So the Song dynasty is full of Han Chinese, right? So it's an ethnic group called the Han, and they came from the older Han state, the Han dynasty. Over the course of Chinese history, like China proper here, has been invaded and controlled by people other than Han Chinese, right? So after the Song, the Song were conquered by the Yuan dynasty, and the Yuan dynasty was a dynasty ruled by the Mongols, right? It was headed by the Mongols. So the leadership was the Mongols, but they ruled over Han Chinese. So with this school of thought that Han Chinese, that the Han Chinese are true Chinese, they would consider the Yuan dynasty not a true Chinese dynasty because it was controlled by Yuan, right? Controlled by the Mongols. Yeah. But like if you look at it another way, I mean, if you look at it another way, not ethnically, but like but culturally, like Chinese, what is China, right? What does it mean to be Chinese? I think the Chinese culture has endured over thousands of years, right? They've endured over all of those dynasties. So with that school of thought, all these dynasties that were not Han Chinese, like the Yuan, they're actually we would consider that real. We would consider those also Chinese dynasties. Yeah. So so here's the Khitan. The Khitans invaded. I think after the Khitan, this Liao dynasty was conquered by. Who were they conquered by? They were conquered by the Jin dynasty, right? So conquered by the Jin, and the Jin were ethnically. What were the Jin? They were Jurchen. Yeah, they were Jurchen, the Jurchen people. So the Jin dynasty actually conquered the Liao, and they actually pushed into Song. I believe they conquered like this northern part of Song. So they got really far. Right? So that's the Jin dynasty, and then afterwards came the Mongols. The Mongols rode down south, and he just conquered the Jin, and later on they actually conquered all of China, right? China proper. And so that was Kublai Khan, and Kublai Khan established the Yuan dynasty. He was kind of an interesting fellow. Kublai was really into China. He was really into Chinese culture, apparently. Yeah, he came to China. He was like, "Oh, love the dumplings," and he actually established the Yuan dynasty. He gave it a Chinese name. Yeah. Yeah, but he wasn't actually Chinese. He was Mongols. He was Mongolian. Do you guys remember? Let's see if I can remember this. All right. Do I remember all of the dynasties of China? Does anyone remember this? Let's see how well I know my Chinese history. Okay. How do we do this? So let's say this is Song. Before the Song, there was Tang, right? Tang dynasty. And then the Sui. Okay, going backwards is kind of hard. Let's go forward first. Song, we had Yuan. Afterward was Ming, and then Qing, and then came the Republic of China. Okay, that's kind of easy. What happened before? Before it was it Jin? No. There was a northern and southern dynasties. So I believe this is where it was when China was north and south, split into north and south, and there were like a couple of different states in the south. Am I right? And Before that was Jin, I think. And then before that, that was the Three Kingdoms, right? So that was Wei, Wu, and Shu. And then before that was Han. I know that. So this is where the Han people came from. But what about before that? What was before Han Dynasty? Was it Qin? No. It was Qin, right? This was the first unified China. Before that were a lot more. So I think this was the first unified China, and before that was a bunch of different states. We need an Animaniacs song for Chinese dynasties. The first unification under Qin. Yeah. It was Qin Shi Huang. Oh, it was Xia? Was it before this? But this was the first. Xia was like ancient China, right? This is like, would this be considered medieval China? Medieval China? And then I think we had ancient China, which is like a lot of different states. So Xia was like, so I guess Xia was the first official dynasty, state, whatever. But I'm not, were they even real? Do we know if they're real or were they just written about in the history books? Like in the ancient histories of China. But I do know that Qin was considered like the first medieval Chinese dynasty. Yeah. So when Qin, Han, Three Kingdoms, Jin, Northern and Southern, Sui, Tang, Song, Yuan, Ming, Qing. Xia was mythological, right? Yeah. Well, let's see. First dynasty in traditional Chinese historiography. Okay. According to tradition. Okay. There are no contemporaneous records of Xia who are not mentioned in the oldest Chinese text. The earliest mentioned occur in the oldest chapter. Okay. So is this considered mythology or actual history? Or we don't know. According to traditional chronology, based upon calculations, that's questionable. Yeah, it seems to be traditional accounts, right? Not confirmed. Okay, so yeah, we had Imperial China. It's considered so it's Qin, Han, Three Kingdoms, Jin, Northern and Southern, Sui, Tang. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I believe that so Yuan was not Han Chinese. The Ming were. They retook China, and then Qing was also not Han Chinese. Qing were the Manchus, right? Yeah, so if you think that Han Chinese is real Chinese, then you would consider these two dynasties not legitimate not legitimate Chinese dynasties, okay? Because they were not ruled by Han Chinese. Okay. Yeah, so this story takes place in the Song Dynasty, okay? So this was before they were conquered by the Jurchen. So they were still, Song China was still really strong. All right. Chapter 15, Part 2. Wait. Oh, wait. Where's my sound effects? Can we compare the maps of modern China and Song China? Oh, yeah, we can do that. Okay. Song China, modern China. Like this? Yeah, so this is modern China. This is Song China. It's called they call it the Northern Song. Yeah, so it was this big, right? Afterwards, they were conquered. The Jin dynasty conquered them here. So like the northern half. So then historians call them the Southern Song. Then afterwards, they were conquered wholly by the Yuan. Still mourning the horse. All right, was that what you wanted? Yeah, there's Southern Song. Yeah, I think the Tang were bigger, right? Tang China. Tang China. Yeah, they had this little piece over here too. I think with the Qing, it was like they had the Qing was really big. Qing China. They had a lot of territory. Yeah, so here's modern China. So the Qing was really big. They had a lot of territory. This was China right before the Republic formed. All right. Chapter 15, Part 2. All right, so let's see. Qiao Feng took the pouch. So the pouch is the message from that messenger. Okay, that came from Western Xia. Remember Western Xia? Where was it? Yeah, so they had a spy in Western Xia who had a critical military report. What is it, right? Qiao Feng took the pouch. Opening it, he saw that there was a wax pellet. He broke open the pellet, retrieving from within a roll of paper. Just as he was about to read what was written on the paper, the sound of hoof steps grew louder as the horse from the east burst into the apricot forest. Just as it entered the forest, the man on the horse flew out of its saddle, shouting, "Qiao Feng, the message within the wax pellet." Wait, this is old man. "Qiao Feng, the message within the wax pellet. Involves critical military intelligence. You cannot read it. Everyone present was startled. They saw that this person was an extremely old beggar with a white beard which fluttered in the wind, who wore a turtle dove robe which had been repaired over and over again. The skill instructing elder and the law enforcing elder rose to their feet simultaneously. Elder Shu, what business causes you to grace us with your presence? When the beggars heard that it was Elder Shu who had arrived, looks of shock appeared on their face. Elder Shu, at 87 years of age, was of an extremely senior generation within the beggars clan. Even the previous chief, Chief Wang, addressed him as martial uncle. Everyone within the clan was of a lower generation than him. He had retired many years ago and had long since ceased to pay attention to worldly affairs. Every year when Qiao Feng, the skill instructing elder, and the law enforcing elder went to pay their respects to him, they would only casually discuss some of the affairs of the clan. Unexpectedly, he would suddenly rush here today, and then forbid Qiao Feng from reading the urgent news regarding the Western Xia's military movements. Everyone present was greatly shocked. Qiao Feng immediately bowed forward in a salute. Elder Shu, have you been well? Following this, he opened his hand and delivered the roll of paper to Elder Shu. Qiao Feng was the chief of the beggars clan. Although it was true that he was of a younger generation than Elder Shu, he was still the person in charge when it came to events of great import involving the clan. Even the previous chief, Chief Wang, would be subject to his commands, much less a retired elder, such as Elder Shu. But unexpectedly, when Elder Shu forbade Qiao Feng from reading the urgent military news regarding the Western Xia's movements, Qiao Feng did not defy him in the slightest. Everyone present was shocked. Elder Shu said, "Excuse me." He took the roll of paper from Qiao Feng's hands, then immediately cast his gaze at the group of beggars. In a clear voice, he said, "The widow of Vice Chief Ma Da-yuan, Madam Ma, is soon to arrive. When she arrives, there are some things which need to be discussed. Everyone, what say you?" All of the beggars looked at Qiao Feng, wanting to know how he would respond. Dude is also very, very stabbed. True. He currently has 4 knives hanging from his shoulders. Qiao Feng was filled with doubt and suspicion. He said, "If it is a matter of great importance, then we can simply wait." Elder Shu said, "This is a matter of great importance." After saying these words, he said nothing further. He belatedly paid Qiao Feng the courtesies due to the chief and then sat down to one side. Duan Yu felt some misgivings about the whole situation and also wanted to seize the opportunity to make some conversation with Wang Yuyan. He said to her in a low voice, "Miss Wang, the beggars clan has so very many affairs. Should we depart or should we stay here and watch all the fun?" Wang Yuyan wrinkled her forehead. "We are outsiders. Originally, we shouldn't get involved in their secret internal issues. However, the matter which they are fighting over involves my cousin. I want to listen." Duan Yu chimed in. "That's right. It's said that Vice Chief Ma was killed by your cousin and left behind a helpless, pitiable widow." Wang Yuyan hurriedly said, No, my cousin didn't kill Vice Chief Ma. Isn't that what Chief Chao says as well?" At this moment, the sound of hoofsteps could be heard once more as 2 riders galloped towards the apricot forest. In setting up their conference here, the beggars of the clan naturally left behind signs for others. In addition, they had people nearby who could lead the way for friends or give out warnings if enemies arrived. Everyone was certain that one of the riders must be Vice Chief Ma's widow. Unexpectedly, one of the riders was an old man, and the other an old lady. The man had a small, short figure, while the female was extremely tall and lofty. They formed a total contrast. So a short dude and a really tall woman. Qiao Feng rose to meet them. Granny Tan and Grandpa Tan of Mount Taihang's cavern of flowing clouds, you honor us with your presence. Xiao Feng apologizes for not welcoming you from afar, and thank you for your forgiveness. Elder Shu and the other 6 elders all rose up and saluted them as well. Oh wait, this is a salute. Upon seeing this, Duan Yu realized that Granny Tan and Grandpa Tan must be Wu Lin figures of great renown and dignitas. Granny Tan asked, I have to do a granny voice now. Chief Chow, why are there a number of knives planted on your shoulder? Lifting up her arm, she immediately pulled out all 4 knives from his shoulder. The movement of her hands was extremely quick. Right after she pulled out the knives, Grandpa Tan withdrew a small box from his bosom. Opening its lid, he dabbed his finger into some ointment within the box, then spread it on the wounds on Xiao Feng's shoulder. Finally getting that taken care of. As soon as he applied this golden wound ointment, the fresh blood, which was spewing forth from the wounds, instantly came to a halt. Wait, was the blood flowing the entire time? That's not healthy, Xiao Feng. The speed which Granny Tan displayed in retrieving the knives was very rarely seen, but it was only a single action, Grandpa Tan's movements, in withdrawing the box, opening the lid, dabbing the ointment, applying it to the wounds, and staunching the bleeding were neat and tidy. Although his movements were very quick, everyone was able to see them clearly and distinctly. It truly appeared almost like magic or sleight of hand. In addition, the golden wound ointment's almost divine efficacy in stopping the flow of blood was even more unimaginable. As soon as it was applied, the blood stopped flowing without even the slightest delay. Xiao Feng saw that Granny Tan and Grandpa Tan immediately helped him treat his wounds without even caring about how the hows and whys of the situation. Although he felt this was a bit rash of them, he also felt extremely moved. Even as he was in the process of thanking them, he felt that the pain in his shoulders became replaced by itchiness. In a very short amount of time, much of the pain was greatly reduced. He had never even heard of a cure as miraculous as this golden wound ointment, much less have personally seen it before. Granny Tan asked again, Chief Chow, who in the world has the audacity to stab you with these knives? Xiao Feng laughed. I did it to myself. Curious, Granny Tan asked, why would you stab yourself? Are you tired of living? Xiao Feng smiled. I stabbed myself for the fun of it. The flesh on my shoulders is thick and tough. I didn't harm the sinews or the bones. Elders Song, Shi, Chen, and Wu, hearing Xiao Feng conceal the real story, felt both moved and ashamed. Granny Tan let out a laugh. What type of lies are you spewing out? Oh, I know, you clever little imp. You heard that Grandpa Tan created a brand new, incomparably efficacious ointment for wounds, using a mixture of frozen jade from the North Pole and the mysterious ice toad. And you wanted to give it a test run, right? Xiao Feng was non-committal. He only smiled a little, then thought to himself, this old granny is extremely simple and tactless. Who in the world would be so bored as to stab themselves with knives so as to test out your new medicine? The sound of hoofbeats could be heard once more as a donkey charged into the apricot forest. On the donkey was seated a man mounted backwards. His back was facing the front of the donkey, while his front was facing the donkey's tail. Granny Tan's face was immediately wreathed in smiles. She shouted out, Marshall brother, what type of crazy game are you up to now? I'll spank you. Whoa, what? When everyone looked at the rider, they saw that he had shrunk his body into a ball, as though he were a 7 or 8-year-old child. Granny Tan stretched out with her palm, slapping at his buttocks. That person immediately rolled down to the ground. As he stretched his hand out to steady himself, he suddenly became both big and strong. Everyone was a bit startled. Grandpa Tan, however, had a rather unhappy look on his face. With a humph, he tossed a side glance at the man while saying, I was wondering who it was, so it's you. He immediately turned his head to stare at Granny Tan. Granny's voice should be lower pitched. Okay, I'll try. Efficacious, it means like, where is that? Wait, where is that? Oh. It means it works well. It's a really good ointment for wounds. Yeah. It works well. Effective. There you go. Okay, yeah, this is now getting weird. What are these Granny Tan and Grandpa Tan things doing here? What are they doing? If one were to say that the man who was riding the donkey backwards was very old, it didn't seem he was all that old, but it would be equally impossible to describe him as young. He appeared to be somewhere from 30 to 60 years of age, and could not be described as ugly or as handsome. He stared raptly at Granny Tan, displaying a boundless concern and fascination with her. In a gentle voice, he asked, Little John, has your life been happy recently? Oh, was that too young a voice? Granny Tan was as large as a horse and built like an ox. Her hair was as white as silver, and her face was filled with wrinkles. Unexpectedly, her name was actually Little Juan. Juan literally means graceful or beautiful. Such a delicate, pretty name was totally opposite to her appearance. Everyone within hearing range thought this was very funny. However, it was true that every old lady was once young. If she was called Little Juan when she was young, it wouldn't be appropriate to change it to Old Juan later on, would it? Just as Duan Yu was thinking that exact thought, once more the sound of hoof steps could be heard as multiple horses sped their way. This time, however, the speed of the horses didn't seem to be particularly urgent at all. Why are all these people coming here? What's going on, guys? What is going on? It's Granny's ex. Oh no. True. That's why Grandpa Tan didn't like it. Chao Feng was sizing up the donkey rider, but was unable to determine just who he was. He was Granny Tan's elder martial brother, and while riding the donkey, he displayed an extremely brilliant usage of the bone shrinking technique. Naturally, he must be an extraordinary character. However, Chao Feng had never heard of him before. The pack of riders arrived at the apricot forest. Riding in front were 5 youths, all with thick eyebrows and large eyes. They all looked very similar to each other. The eldest appeared to be over 30 years of age, whereas the youngest was a bit over 20. Clearly, the 5 of them were brothers born of the same mother. Wu Changfeng loudly called out, The 5 heroes of Mount Taishan have arrived! Wonderful, wonderful! What propitious wind has blown all 5 of you brothers here at the same time? The 3rd brother of the 5 heroes of Mount Taishan was named Dan Shu Shan, and he was extremely close to Wu Changfeng. He immediately seized the first chance to reply and said, 4th Uncle Wu, hello! My father came as well. The look on Wu Changfeng's face changed slightly. He said, Truly? Your father? He had just acted in a way which violated the rules of the Beggars clan, and still felt uneasy about it. Wu Changfeng is one of the elders. Upon hearing that the iron-faced judge Dan Zheng of Mount Taishan had suddenly arrived, he couldn't help but suddenly feel flustered. The iron-faced judge, Dan Zheng, hated wickedness, as though it were his personal foe. If ever he heard that something unfair had occurred, within the Jianghu, he would definitely intervene. His own skills in martial arts was very formidable, and aside from his 5 sons, he also had many disciples under his tutelage, numbering over 200 people. Everyone was in awe of the fame of Mount Taishan's Dan family. Propitious? I think it means fortuitous. Like what lucky wind has blown all 5 of you brothers here at the same time. How about that? What fortuitous wind? I don't know how to spell it. Propitious. Giving or indicating a good chance of success. Yeah, I think so. Like favorable, auspicious. Yeah, that means lucky, kind of. So another group came, right? It's this guy, the iron-faced judge, and his 5 sons. They also came. Why are all these people coming here all of a sudden? Following this, another rider galloped into the apricot forest. The 5 heroes of Mount Taishan simultaneously brought the horse to a halt, as the rider, an old man who wore a long silk robe, floated down from his mount. He clasped his hands towards Chao Feng, saying, "Chief Chao, Danzheng has arrived without being invited. Please forgive me for interrupting." Chao Feng had long heard of Danzheng, but this was the first time they had met in person. He saw that Danzheng's face was filled with a healthy red glow. The man lived up to his reputation of having white hair and a rosy complexion. However, he had a very mild expression on his face. It didn't seem as though he were as ruthless a person as the rumors of Jianghu made him out to be. Chao Feng hastily cupped his fists in response and said, "If I knew that you, Elder Dan, were going to grace us with your presence, I would have welcomed you long ago." The man who rode in on a donkey suddenly let out a weird shout. "Ah, great! So you should welcome the iron-faced judge from afar, but when I, the iron-arsed judge, arrived, you didn't pay me any mind at all." Upon hearing the bizarre name of iron-arsed judge, everyone present laughed uproariously. Although Wang Yuyan, Aju, and Abi all felt that laughing was improper, they couldn't help but let out beautiful smiles as well. Upon hearing these words, the 5 heroes of Mount Taishan knew that this man was trying to mock their father. They immediately became upset. However, the family rules of the Dan family were extremely rigid. Since Danzheng himself had not said anything yet, none of his children dared to speak out of turn. Where's my face? Oh. Why is my face gone? And now I'm upside down. Hold on. Okay. Danzheng possessed very good self-control. He couldn't immediately determine the origins of this weirdo, and so pretended to not have heard his words. In a clear voice, he called out, "Madam Ma, please come out and speak with us." From behind the grove appeared a covered sedan. 2 strong men were carrying the sedan, and they moved so quickly as to appear to be flying. Arriving within the forest, they set down the sedan, then parted upon the sedan curtain. From within the sedan, a young madam, all dressed in mourning clothes, slowly stepped out. The young madam bowed her head towards Chao Feng. Paying her respects to him, she said, "The widow of the Ma family pays her respects to the chief." Chao Feng returned her salute. "Sister-in-law, I greet you." She was there the whole time? No. She just came. She just arrived. Madame Ma said, "My late husband had the misfortune to pass away. Thankfully, the many uncles of the clan have helped to arrange his funeral rites. I am sincerely grateful to you all. Her voice was extremely clear and melodious. Evidently, she was very young. However, this entire time her eyes stared down at the ground, preventing others from seeing her face. Qiao Feng believed that Madame Ma must have found an important clue in the matter of her husband's death, which is why she had suddenly rushed here. But for her not to bring such important information to the chief of the clan and to approach the iron-faced judge and Elder Shu instead was an indication that something was very fishy here. Turning around, he glanced at the law-enforcing elder Bai Shijing. Bai Shijing had just turned to glance at him as well. Their gazes met, and both of their eyes were filled with suspicion regarding the proceedings. Qiao Feng decided to properly receive the guests first before handling internal affairs. He said to Shan Zheng, Elder Shan, the married couple of Mount Tai Hang's Cavern of Flowing Clouds are here as well. I wonder if you know them. Shan Zheng cupped his fists towards them. I've long heard of the great fame of the Tan family. It is my great fortune to meet you. Qiao Feng said, Elder Tan, could you introduce this other old gentleman to me, so that I may pay him proper respects? Before Grandpa Tan had a chance to reply, the donkey rider replied, My family name is Shuang, and my personal name is Wai. My nickname is the Iron-Arsed Judge. No matter how good Iron-Faced Judge Shan Zheng's temper was, he couldn't prevent his rage from rising at this point. He thought to himself, my family name is Shan, and he chooses the family name Shuang. My personal name is Zheng, and he picks the name Wai. Isn't this clearly directed at me? Just as he was about to let loose his rage, Granny Tan said, Elder Shan, don't listen to Chao Chiang-sun's nonsense. He's a bit crazy. There's no point in getting worked up over him. Okay, so this donkey rider is Zhao Qian-sun. Qiao Feng thought to himself, this man is named Zhao Qian-sun. That can't be his real name. He said, everyone, there's no seats here, and so I'll have to ask you all to make do with the ground. After seeing everyone sit down, he said, if I had known a day ago that I would meet with so many distinguished elders and friends, I would have felt extremely honored and fortunate. Might I ask why all of you have graced us with your presences? Shan Zheng said, Chief Zhao, your respected clan is the largest clan in Jianghu, and for centuries has had a world-spanning heroic reputation. Whenever anyone in the Wulin says the words Beggar's Clan, they do so with great awe and respect. I, Shan Zheng, have always greatly admired the clan as well. Qiao Feng said, You are too kind. Zhao Qiansun interjected, Chief Qiao, your respected clan is the largest clan in the Jianghu, and for centuries has had a world-spanning heroic reputation. Whenever anyone in the Wulin says the word Beggar's Clan, they do so with great awe and respect. I, Shuang Wai, have always greatly admired the clan as well. Oh, this guy is just a troll, isn't he? His words were exactly identical to the words of Shan Zheng, only he changed the name from Shan Zheng to Shuang Wai. Qiao Feng knew that many of the elders of the Wulin had strange temperaments and dispositions. He didn't know why Zhao Qiansun was making fun of Shan Zheng every chance that he got, but he decided that the only thing which truly concerned him was not offending anybody. Thus, once more, Qiao Feng said, You are too kind. Shan Zheng smiled a little, then said to his eldest son, Shan Bo-shan, Bo-shan, go ahead and speak to Chief Qiao in my stead. If anyone wants to imitate my son, they can go ahead and do it to their heart's content. Where did our story go? What do you mean? Is something wrong? Oh, Zhao, Qian, Sun were respectively the three biggest family names therefore clearly made up. Really? I see. But why did Granny Tan call him by Zhao Qiansun also? Everyone who heard these words couldn't help but let out a burst of laughter. They all thought to themselves that although the iron-faced judge posed as a man of high morals, he was secretly quite caustic. If Zhao Qiansun imitated the words of Shan Bo-shan, then it would be said that Zhao Qiansun was pretending to be Shan Zheng's son. Unexpectedly, Zhao Qiansun said, Bo-shan, go ahead and speak to the Chief Chao in my stead. If anyone wants to imitate my son, they can go ahead and do it to their heart's content. What a troll. He flipped the situation on its head, as though he were now acknowledging that he himself was Shan Bo-shan's father. Shan Zheng's youngest son, Shan Xiaoshan, had the most explosive temper. He loudly cursed, Motherfucker! Are you tired of living? I like that. Zhao Qiansun mumbled to himself, Motherfucker, 4 useless sons such as these are already 4 too many. There really was no need for a 5th. I wonder who his real father is. Hearing how brazenly Zhao Qiansun was provoking him, even if Shan Zheng were a clay figurine, he would warp and bend. Turning his head, he said to Zhao Qiansun, We are the guests of the Beggars clan for the moment. If we kick up a fuss, it would be disrespectful to our hosts. After the matter at hand is dealt with, I will naturally seek you out and see your incredible skills. Bo-shan, just speak. Zhao Qiansun continued to imitate him and said, We are the guests of the Beggars clan for the moment. If we kick up a fuss, it will be disrespectful to our hosts. After the matter at hand is dealt with, I will naturally seek you out and see your incredible skills. Bo-shan, your old man is telling you to speak. Just speak. Oh, so Zhao Qiansun is like saying Smith Johnson Williams? I see. Maybe he just has a weird name. Shan Bo-shan would have liked nothing better than to rush forward and give him a few nasty chops of the saber and relieve the hatred in his heart. With a strenuous effort, he reined in his fury and said to Qiao Feng, Chief Qiao, the 2 of us, father and son, originally would never have dared to get involved in the matters of your venerable clan. But as my father says, a gentleman loves men of character. As he said this, he glanced at Zhao Qiansun, wondering if Zhao Qiansun would be imitating him. If he was, he would be forced to also say, but as my father says, a gentleman loves men of character. Thus, Zhao Qiansun would be saying that Shan Zheng was his father. Unexpectedly, Zhao Qiansun really did continue to imitate him. He said, Chief Zhao, the 2 of us, father and son, originally would never have dared to get involved in the matters of your venerable clan, but as my son says, a gentleman loves men of character. He changed the word father to son. Oh, did he? Oh. Naturally, he was mocking Shan Zheng. Everyone who heard this frowned, feeling that Zhao Qiansun was going too far. They feared that the situation would immediately explode into a bloody confrontation. What is going on here? What are they doing? Shan Zheng lightly said, Sir, you continue to try and make things difficult for me. However, I have never met you before, and do not know how I might have offended you. I would like to ask that you make things clear. If I am at fault, simply let me know, and I will immediately admit my errors and offer you my apologies. Everyone secretly supported Shan Zheng's words, feeling that he really lived up to his reputation of being a heroic, chivalric figure of the Central Plains. Zhao Qiansun said, You didn't offend me, but you offended little Zhuan. This is 10 times worse than offending me. Shan Zheng said, Who is little Zhuan? When did I offend her? Zhao Qiansun pointed at Granny Tan. She's Little Zhuan. Little Zhuan is her maiden name. In the whole wide world, no one but me can address her like that. Shan Zheng was both angry and amused. He said, Oh, so that is Granny Tan's maiden name. I didn't know. Please forgive me for any offense I may have given. Zhao Qianxun said in a haughty, supercilious voice. As you didn't know, we won't blame you. Your first offense is pardoned, but if it happens again, you won't be. Shanzhang said, I have long heard of the great fame of the married Tan family, who live in Mount Taihang's cavern of flowing clouds, but never had the karmic fortune to meet them. I have never gossiped about anyone behind their back. How could I have offended the granny of the Tan family? Zhao Qianxun angrily said, Earlier, I was asking little Juan, has your life been happy recently? But before she had a chance to reply, your 5 precious sons swaggered on in and barged their way into our midst, interrupting her response. Even to this very moment, she hasn't had a chance to reply to me. Brother Shan, why don't you go and ask what type of person little Juan is, or what type of person I, Zhao Qian Sun Li Zhou Wu Cheng Wang am? Are we the type of people who would allow others to disrupt our conversations just like that? Okay, so I guess all of these are surnames. Upon hearing these bizarre words, Shanzheng realized that this fellow really wasn't very bright. So he was mad that he asked her how she was doing, and then these 5 sons came in and interrupted them. Which, how would they know? He said, Brother, there's something I don't understand, and I hope you can enlighten me. What is it? If I'm in a good mood, I suppose I can help you with a few pointers. Many thanks, many thanks. Sure, sir, you said that you are the only person in the world who can address Granny Tan by her maiden name, right? Zhao Qianxun said, Right on. If you don't believe me, call her maiden name out again, and see if I, Zhao Qianxun Li Zhou Wu Zhang Wang Feng Chan Chu Wei Jiang Shen Hang Shang Ya won't get into a big fight with you right now. Shanzhang said, Brother, I naturally wouldn't dare to call her name again, but can it be that even Grandpa Tan is not allowed to call her by her maiden name? Zhao Qianxun's face turned a ghastly pale color. For a long moment, he did not respond. He is her ex. Everyone thought to themselves that these words of Shanzheng had stupefied him. Unexpectedly, Zhao Qianxun suddenly burst into sobs as his tears and snot crisscrossed into a pitiable, heartbroken appearance. All right, this guy is totally off his rocker. This was wildly outside of everyone's expectations. This person feared neither heaven nor hell and had seemed determined to squabble with the iron-faced judge to the very end. Unexpectedly, just a few simple words caused him to break into a large cry-fest, which he seemed unable to end. Seeing how heartbroken Zhao Qianxun was, Shanzhang began to feel embarrassed. The fury which had curdled up in his heart immediately vanished away. He instead began to console Zhao Qianxun, saying, Brother Zhao, I'm the one at fault here. Zhao Qianxun sobbed and whimpered, My surname isn't Zhao. Startled. Yo, that is not his name. You're right, Losh. Startled, Shanzhang asked, Sir, what is your surname then? Zhao Qianxun replied, I don't have one. Don't ask anymore. Everyone guessed that Zhao Qianxun must have an extremely painful subject that would be awkward to discuss. As to what it was, since he refused to say, it would be inappropriate for others to ask. All they could do was let him continue to cry, sob, and weep without stopping. With a composed look on her face, Granny Tan said, You've gone crazy again. You are in front of so many friends. Aren't you afraid of losing face at all? Zhao Qianxun said, You cast me off, then went off and married this good-for-nothing Grandpa Tan. How can I not be miserable and pained? My heart is shattered, and my guts have been splintered. Why would I care about such a small thing as face? Oh, he's so sad. All the onlookers glanced at each other and smiled, None of them were surprised at the revelation. Clearly, Chao Qiansun and Granny Tan once shared a romantic history together. When Granny Tan married Grandpa Tan, Chao Qiansun became so heartbroken that he threw away his very name and would go into insane fits of silliness. The Tan couple were clearly in their 60s. How could it be that Chao Qiansun was still this passionate, still this heartbroken, despite the passage of decades? Granny Tan's face was covered with wrinkles, and her white hair was desolate and dreary. No one present could see how this large and tall old lady, even in her youth, could have caused Chao Qiansun to be so passionate about her to this very day. A bashful look appeared on Granny Tan's face. She said, "Marshal brother, why do you keep on bringing up these bygone affairs? Today, the Beggars Clan has important matters to discuss. Be well behaved and just listen, all right?" These gently persuasive words were very comfortable to Chao Qiansun's ears. He said, "If you smile at me, I'll listen to you." Before Granny Tan had a chance to smile, 10 or so bystanders already burst into laughter. Granny Tan didn't seem to notice at all and smiled directly at him. Chao Qiansun stared at her as though stupefied. Clearly, he had been totally dazed by her smile, and it was as though his very soul had been frozen. Grandpa Tan sat off to one side, face filled with fury. Oh no! How she made her husband mad. But there was nothing he could do. Watching this scene, Duan Yu's heart suddenly trembled. He thought to himself, the love and passion between these three people is so strong that they don't pay a care to the fact that others are here and watching. In the future, will I and Miss Wang be the way Chao Qiansun and Granny Tan are? No. Granny Tan clearly holds great affection towards her martial brother, but the person whom Miss Wang constantly thinks about is her cousin, Mu Rongfu. Compared to Chao Qiansun, I am far inferior to him, and my situation is much worse. Chao Feng, on the other hand, was thinking about something else. So, Chao Qiansun is a false name after all. I've always heard it said that Granny Tan and Grandpa Tan were disciples of the master of the Taihang sect. But judging from these words these three have said, it seems as though they don't come from the same school after all. Does Grandpa Tan belong to the Taihang school, or does Granny Tan belong to the Taihang school? If Grandpa Tan is the one who belongs to the Taihang sect, then which sect did Granny Tan and this Chao Qiansun fellow come from? Chao Qiansun said, I heard that Gusu's Mu Rong family produced a Mu Rongfu who uses the opponent's skills, exercising them upon the opponent. I hear that he is brash and audacious, and that he wantonly murders innocents. This old man wants to go a few rounds with him and see what sort of ability that brat has to reverse his attacks upon me, Qiao Qiansun Li, Zhou Wu Zheng Huang. Little Juan, you told me to come to Jiannan. Naturally, I came, much less I... But before he finished speaking, a person could be heard crying loudly. Weeping and bawling, the sound was absolutely identical to that of his own crying a few moments earlier. Everyone present was astonished. That person began to complain while crying, My dear Marshal's sister, how did I offend you? Why did you go marry that horrible old man Tan? This old man's been thinking about you day and night. My stomach has been stretched and my intestines have been knotted. The person I always think about is you, Marshal's sister, little Juan. When our master was alive, he treated the two of us as though we were his own children. How can you face our master after you refuse to marry me and marry somebody else? Okay, now someone is mocking this dude. In both sound and speech pattern, the voice was absolutely identical to that of Chao Qiansun's. If it weren't for the fact that everyone clearly saw how Chao Qiansun was stunned and gape-mouthed, and how astonished he looked, everyone would have believed that it was he who spoke. Everyone turned to look as one. They saw that this voice came from a young maiden who wore a light red dress. That person turned around, revealing herself to be Ju. Guan Yu, Abi, and Wang Yuyan knew that Aju had an almost divine ability to mimic the voices of others. They weren't surprised at all, but everyone present was both amazed and amused. They all thought that after hearing this, Qiao Qiansun would go crazy with rage. Unexpectedly, these words of Aju stirred his heart. He had almost stopped crying, but upon hearing her words, his eyes reddened once more. His lips drooped downwards, and once more his tears poured down his face, and he once more started bawling in tune with Aju. All right, give me 5 minutes. We'll be right back. And we're back. All right, yeah, a lot of people showed up. What is going on? Shanzheng shook his head. This is the iron-faced judge. Iron-faced judge. In a clear voice, he said, "Although my surname is Shan, single, I have a wife and 4 concubines, and my sons and grandchildren fill my home. You, Mr. Shuang Wai, have a surname Shuang, double, but you are a solitary, lonely figure. This sort of affair should have been dealt with long ago. There's no point to bringing it up now. I'm afraid it's rather too late. Brother Shuang, we were invited to come to Jiangnan by the widow of the late Vice Chief Ma of the Beggars clan." Okay, so the widow of the late Ma invited them. "Did we come for the purpose of discussing your marriage and matrimonial status?" Qiao Qiansun shook his head. "No." Shanzheng said, "In that case, it would be best if we discuss the serious business which brought us to the Beggars clan in the first place." Yes, I agree. I agree, Shanzheng. Zhao Qiansun suddenly shouted out angrily, "What? The business of the Beggars clan is serious business, but the business between me and little Juan is not?" By this point, Grandpa Tan had reached the ends of his patience. He said, "Ahoy, ahoy! If you don't hurry and keep him from continuing to act crazy, I won't be able to restrain myself." After hearing him address her as Ahoy, everyone present realized, so Granny Tan has another name after all. Little Juan is a term which Qiao Qiansun alone uses. Stamping her foot, Granny Tan said, "He isn't going crazy. You harmed him and made him become like this. Aren't you content yet?" Surprised, Grandpa Tan said, How did I harm him?" "I married you, you horrible old man. Naturally, my macho brother feels miserable about it." Wait, what? Grandpa Tan said, "When you married me, I was neither horrible nor old." Granny Tan angrily said, "Have you no shame? Are you claiming that in the past you were handsome and graceful?" Elder Shu and Shanzheng looked at each other, shaking their heads. They thought that these 3 babies were old, but not at all dignified or mature. The 3 of them were all senior members of the Wulin, with a great deal of personal prestige, and yet they were now squabbling over the passions of their youth in front of so many people. It was truly ridiculous. Elder Shu let out a cough. "Father and son of Mount Taishan, husband and wife of Mount Taihang, and this friend as well. Thank you for gracing us with your presences this day. Everyone in our humble clan from top to bottom feel very honored. Madam Ma, please, tell your tale, starting from the beginning." Finally. Oh, we have another translator, eh? Madame Ma was originally standing still on one side with her head down, her back towards everyone. She had overheard what Elder Shu said, so she slowly turned around and in a quiet voice said, "My husband was unfortunate and passed away. I only know how to curse my fate at not being able to born any children to continue the Ma bloodline." Her voice, although quiet, yet clear, caused the words that entered the ears of everyone who heard to shed tears. Her tone until this point was emotional, but now it seemed to be choked by tears. All the heroes in the forest, after hearing her talk, was touched all the way to their soul. With one cry, Zhao Qiansun made everyone laugh. Aju made everyone amazed, but Madame Ma made everyone sorrowful. Madame Ma continued, "After I had buried my husband, I went through the belongings he left behind. In the place with the Buddhist scriptures, there was a letter that was sealed with wax. On the cover of the letter, it was written, 'In case that I died peacefully, burn this letter immediately. If opened, then my soul in heaven will not be able to rest in peace. But if I died in a suspicious manner, this letter must be handed over to all the beggar clan elders to read together. This matter is of utmost importance, must not be failed.'" Uh-oh. So the letter was, in case he died peacefully, then you gotta burn the letter. However, if he died in a suspicious manner, the letter must be handed over to the beggar clan elders. When Madame Ma talked to this point, the entire forest was quiet. A needle falling to the ground could still be heard. She paused for a moment, then continued, "I saw that since my husband wrote seriously thus, I know this matter is important, so I immediately searched for Bangju to hand over this letter. It was coincidence that Bangju, along with the clan elders, are at Jiangnan regarding matters of revenge for my dead husband. Because of that, I have not yet been able to hand over the letter." People there noticed a different shift in her tone, emphasizing coincidence, and then because of that. Together, everyone looked at Qiao Feng from the corner of their eyes. Qiao Feng, all afternoon, had dealt with the devious plot directed at himself. Although he had suppressed Chang Guanqing and the clan elders' rebellion, he has not yet put this matter to rest. Now, after he heard Madame Ma speak, he now felt lighter inside than before, his complexion calm, and thought to himself, "Whatever plot these people are planning, come out and say it and be done with it. In this lifetime, I have never done anything to be ashamed of, so why would I be scared of someone trying to slander me?" Oh, Bangju. Bangju means chief. Oh, okay. Bangju means chief. That means she searched for Qiao Feng. Okay, so it looks like this is not over. Madame Ma continued, "I know that this letter has implications to the clan, and since Bangzhu and clan elders were not at Luoyang, I dare not. We have a new translator. That's why they're not saying Qiao Feng now. They're saying Bangzhu. And since Bangzhu and clan elders were not at Luoyang, I dare not delay, so I immediately went to Zhengzhou to see Elder Shu and ask him to take charge of this matter. As for what this matter is, Elder Shu, please explain to everyone here." Elder Shu coughed a few times before speaking. "This matter, if spoken out loud, involves matters of gratitude and grudges. I foresee that the consequences are very hard to imagine." Those few sentences conveyed a deep, worrisome meaning. He slowly opened a cloth bag from his shoulders, took out the letter, and said, "This is the will of Ma Da Yuan. Great ancestors, grandfather and father of Da Yuan, many generations have belonged to the Beggars clan, and had been, if not clan elders, then at least 8 bag members. I knew Ma Da Yuan since he was little, and are very familiar with the handwritings of his. The words on this letter are definitely Ma Da Yuan's handwriting. When Madame Ma handed me this letter, the wax seal on it had not been touched. I was afraid it held important matters, and dare not delay it, so I opened it immediately, without waiting for the other elders. When opening the letter, the iron-faced judge of Mount Taishan, Shan Zheng, was there as witness. Was there as witness. Okay, so he opened the letter, and Shanzhang was there. Okay, so that's why they invited Shanzhang, to prove that he was a witness. Shanzhang spoke up. What he said was true. I was there to visit Elder Shu at that moment when he opened the letter. Elder Shu opened the envelope, taking out the letter, and said, I examined the letter inside and saw that it was not written by Ma Dayuan, and was a little surprised. The beginning of the letter was to Brother Jian Tong, and this is even more weird. Jian Tong is the name of Wang Bangzhu. So this is the previous chief, the former Bangzhu of the Beggars Clan. If the person who wrote this letter was not a good friend of his, then they would not address him as such. Moreover, Wang Bangzhu has passed away for a long time, so who would write a letter to him? At this point, I have not yet read what was written in the letter, but immediately skipped to the end to see the name on the signature. Upon reading it, I was even more surprised. At that point, I couldn't contain myself and exclaimed, So it was him! Brother Shan was curious and picked his head over to see, and also exclaimed, So it was him! Shanzhang nodded his head, hinting that it happened exactly like that. Who is him? Zhao Qiansun sneaked in. Mr. Shan, what you did was not right. This is a secret letter of the Beggars Clan. You are not a one-bag member of the clan, nor a two-bag, nor even a lowly street beggar who goes around asking for food. How come you dare to peek at a secret letter belonging to others? True. Everyone here thought that he was like a madman, but now he actually made sense. Shanzhang's face turned red and hurriedly said, I only looked at the signature at the end of the letter, and not what was actually written in the letter. Zhao Qiansun replied, If one stole 1,000 gold... If one stole 1,000 gold, one is a thief. If one stole 1 copper, one is still a thief. The amount of money is different, but stealing a large amount is stealing, and stealing But stealing a large amount is still stealing, and stealing a small amount is still stealing. Sneaking a glance at a letter belonging to others is not an act of a gentleman. If you are not a gentleman, then you are a shameless person, and a shameless person is someone everyone should look down upon. If you are already a shameless person, then you deserved to die. Shanzhang raised his hand to keep his 5 sons from acting rashly. Just let him talk nonsense and see where this goes. Though he was boiling on the inside, he calmly thought to himself that there was something more to this, and asked himself, This person just met me, and he's already trying to stir up trouble. Did he already have a grudge with me from the past, perchance? In Jianghu, there are not many who doesn't give face to the name Taishan Shanjia. Why can't I figure it out? Everyone else was waiting for Elder Shu to say the name of the person in the letter, to see what kind of person he is, that caused Elder Shu and Shanzhang to both be shocked. While they all were trying to think of this matter, Zhao Qiansun started speaking out of turn with some other nonsense, causing many people to stare at him in anger. Granny Tan suddenly spoke up. What is everyone looking at? Every word my senior martial brother said was the truth. Zhao Qiansun saw Granny Tan spoke up for him, felt ecstatic inside, and said, Everyone look here. Even Lian Xiaochuan agrees. Oh, Xiaojuan means Little Juan. Oh no! Their names change midway. This is confusing. Everyone look here. Even Lian Xiaojuan agrees. So how can I be in the wrong? Whatever Lian Xiaojuan have said or done in the past has never been wrong. But suddenly another, but shockingly similar voice to Zhao Qiansun cut in. That is right. Whatever Lian Xiaojuan says or do has never been wrong. She married Grandpa Tan and did not marry me. She did not marry wrong at all. Oh, good point. The person who said that was Ju. Starting at the moment when Zhao Qiansun talked about bad about Mu Rongfu. She was still holding a grudge inside, so she couldn't help herself from making fun of him. Chao Tiansun, after hearing that, didn't know whether to laugh or cry, and fell victim to the specialty of the Murong family move, turning one's special move against them. Immediately, there were two faces looking at Aju intimately and full of approval. On their right, there. Ugh. Oh no, this is a worse translator. On their right, there. On their right, there was Grandpa Tan's, and on the left, there was Shan Zheng. A person's shadow flashed, and Granny Tan jumped in front of Aju with a raised palm and slapped her hard in the face and peeked, "Whether I marry right or wrong, what does it have to do with a lowly servant girl like you?" Oh, got slapped. She raised her hand very fast, that even though Aju wanted to dodge it, she couldn't. Another person, even if next to her, wouldn't even be fast enough. Step in. Oh my god. Another person, even if they were next to her, wouldn't even be fast enough to step in to help. A loud squeak of pain was heard, and on the powder white face of Aju, there was a purple handprint. Zhao Qiansun laughed out loud. This smelly girl deserved her lesson. Who told her to be gossipy about other people's business? You think Run Wo-Xing is a better translator than the current one? True. Aju, with tears running down her cheeks, started crying out loud. Grandpa Tan stepped up and stuck his hand into his pocket, pulling out a small jade box, opened it, and started spreading ointment onto the face of Aju. Granny Tan slapped her skillfully and quickly, raising her palm and pulling it back in just a single motion. Grandpa Tan, applying ointment to her face, had to use many different motions, but it was even faster than Granny Tan's slap. Aju didn't even get a chance to move, and the ointment was already on her face. Her bruised face suddenly started to heal and feel better. Wow, this guy is a master medicine making dude. He's a super pharmacist. At the same time, in her left hand, she was holding something. She opened her palm to see a small jade box, seeing that she knew that Grandpa Tan had just gave her a box of special ointment to treat her injury. Aju, as soon as she started crying, had suddenly started smiling. Elder Shu had no reason to pay attention to Granny Tan bicker with Grandpa Tan, so he lowered his voice and continued. My brothers, as for the person who wrote this letter, I cannot say at this moment. I have been in the Beggars Clan for over 70 years. I have retired to live in seclusion for 30 years, and no longer have any dealings with business in Jianghu. I don't have any conflicts with people, nor do people have any enmities with me. I have lived in this world for a long time, yet I don't have any children, nor do I have any students. Thus I harbor no hidden bias, nor agendas. I am about to say a few words. Will you all be able to believe what I say? Okay, so he's saying he has no connections to anything, right? So he's saying he has no motive to lie. So you should be able to trust his words. The group of beggars all said together, If we don't trust Elder Shu, then who can we trust? Elder Shu turned around and looked at Xiao Feng and asked, What say you, Bangzhu? Xiao Feng replied, I have always respected Elder Shu. Elder should know this already. Elder Shu then continued, After reading this letter, I felt both hurt and anger in my heart. I had doubts that I am mistaken and erred in my thinking, so I immediately showed it to Brother Shan Zhang. Everyone must keep in mind that Brother Shan and the person who wrote this letter have always been intimate with each other. He can recognize the handwriting of that person. This matter has important implications, so I needed to ask Brother Shan to examine this letter to see if it is true or false. I've been a proud beggar all my life. True. Shan Zhang looked forward and stared at Zhao Qiansun, implying, Do you have anything more to say? Zhao Qiansun replied, If Elder Shu showed the letter to you, then of course you have a right to look at it. However, it still doesn't dismiss the fact that the first time you saw it, it was because you sneaked a peek. No different from a thief swearing in front of Buddha that he will never steal again. And even though he had changed his ways, it still doesn't wash away the fact that he was once a thief. Elder Shu paid no attention to Chao Qiansun trying to stir up trouble and continued talking. Brother Shan, will Brother Shan please announce to everyone here whether this letter is real or fake? Shan Zhang replied, The person who wrote this letter and I are good friends and have exchanged letters with each other for many years. In my house, I still keep many of his old letters, so I led Elder Shu and Madame Ma back to my place to compare them. Not only the handwriting matches, but also the envelope and the wax seal were all of one kind and does not leave any doubts as to who wrote the letter. Elder Shu said, I won't live for much longer, so everything that I do, I must be careful. Especially since this matter has important implications to the Beggars clan and the reputation and name of a hero. How could I dare be so reckless and take liberty of the matter? After hearing him say that, everyone turned their faces to look at Xiao Feng, knowing immediately that the hero he was implying were Qiao Bangzhu himself. With that being said, no one dared to look at him straight in the eyes, opting instead to look down at the ground where their eyes meet. Elder Shu continued, I knew that the Tan husband and wife living on Mount Taishan and the person who wrote the letter knew each other for many years, so I paid a visit to the cavern of flowing clouds. Grandpa Tan and Granny Tan shared with me everything to confirm this matter. I truly didn't dare to come straight out and talk about this matter by myself. At this time, everyone realized that Elder Shu invited the Tan husband and wife and Shan Zheng here to testify and serve as witnesses. Elder Shu then continued, At that time, Granny Tan said that she has a martial brother that can bear first-hand witness to this matter. If we can invite him to testify his account, then everything can become clear. This person is Mr. Chao Qiansun, but this person acts differently and more eccentric than the average person. He won't accept just anybody's invitation, but he still holds Granny Tan in high regard. As soon as her invitation letter arrived, Chao Qiansun immediately agreed to come. Grandpa Tan suddenly got angry and stared at Granny Tan, then asked, What? You were the one to ask him to come? Why didn't you tell me first, before you two carried out covert exchanges behind my back? Granny Tan became angry and shouted back, What is this covert exchanges you mentioned? I wrote a letter and asked Elder Shu to send someone to deliver it. That is the right and honorable thing that I did, befitting a wife. You have a penchant for pointless jealousy. If you knew then, you will nag incessantly about it, bringing down the house. So that's why I chose not to tell you. Grandpa Tan replied, Hiding something from your husband violates the moral ethics of husband and wife, and that is not right. Granny Tan, not in the mood to argue more, took her palm and punched him in the middle of his face. Wow, really? Grandpa Tan, although his martial arts are higher than his wife's, didn't block, nor did he dodge, just stood still for his wife to hit him. He then reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box to rub ointment onto his face to stop the swelling. The person who struck was fast, but the person who applied ointment was even faster. The anger of this husband and wife caused everyone to find it ridiculous. All right. So this guy doesn't fight back, okay? He just takes the hit and then he just applies ointments to his face. Penchants? First of all, this is not even the right word. It's perchance. But he meant penchants. Penchant. You have a penchant for pointless jealousy. Like it means like you're prone to pointless jealousy. Like you do that a lot. That's what it means. You tend to do that. You tend to have pointless jealousy. Penchant. A tendency to do something. That's a good word. Tendency. All right. So she punched him. He immediately wiped ointment on his face. Granny Tan, not in the... Wait, we did that already. Zhao Qiansun, seeing this, gave a long sigh and in a sad, hurt voice said, So that's how it is. So that's how it is. So regretful. If I had known sooner than in the past, I would have allowed her to slap me around a few times. Not a difficult thing to do. His voice was full of regret. Granny Tan replied in an equally regretful voice, Who told you to hit me back when I hit you in the past? You never once yielded to me. Zhao Qiansun looked up in a dumb-looking stupor, started to reminisce the old times about a certain martial sister with a volatile temper. She does have a temper. So I guess she didn't choose Zhao Qiansun because Qiansun hit her back when she hit him. And this guy, Grandpa Tan, does not hit her back. And that's why she married him? Maybe? Possibly? So she had a volatile temper, a misstep around her, and one would be all on the defensive all day. Every time he got hit for a nonsense reason, he could not endure nor yield. Every time he got hit for a nonsense... Oh, God. Every time he got hit for a nonsense reason, he could not endure nor yield. So back and forth they would go, thus killing any chance for love before it had a chance to mature. Now, seeing Grandpa Tan withstanding her beating without a sound, he was finally enlightened, and now repented bitterly, with a heart full of grief. Over the past few decades, he was bitter at his martial sister for choosing another man, thinking it was due to some significant reason. But who would have thought that his rival's only advantage was that he was willing to serve as her whipping post? Oi! If only I had known back then, I would let her hit me more, and then she would be satisfied. Oh, this is a toxic relationship, okay? Toxic. Do not think like that. Elder Shu spoke up. Mr. Zhao Qiansun, please give some input and say to everyone whether the contents of this letter is true or false. Zhao Qiansun, still lost in his thought, muttered, I am such an idiot. At that time, why couldn't I figure it out? Studying martial arts are for beating enemies, beating evil, beating low-life bastards. Who would have thought to use it for beating a loved one, beating the person of your dreams? If being beaten was love, being scolded was love, being slapped around was love, it can be, then what was such a big deal that I couldn't endure it back then? Everyone seeing him so infatuated found it slightly touching, yet also ridiculous. The Beggars Clan is facing an important matter that needs to be resolved. Elder Shu had invited this person from afar to testify, but who knew? But who would have known this person turned out to be a love-struck fool, and can say what he has to say? Can what he has to say be taken seriously? Elder Shu reminded him, Mr. Zhao Qiansun, we all asked you here so you can talk about what is in this letter. Zhao Qiansun replied, Oh, right. Elder is asking me about the matter in the letter, right? That letter, though short, is full of meaning. 40 years ago... Okay, finally. 40 years ago, we were fellow students. The memories still fresh. Every time little sister thinks back, I start missing those days. Although Marshall Brothers' head is now gray, your smiling face is no different from years past. Elder Shu was asking about the letter Ma Da-yuan left behind, but he actually recited Granny Tan's letter that he memorized by heart. Ooh. A love letter? Elder Shu was speechless and not knowing what to do, turned to Granny Tan and said, Madam Tan, Madam, please ask him to cooperate. Granny Tan witnessed Zhao Qiansun unexpectedly take an ordinary letter of hers and recited it fluently by heart, knew in her soul that he must have read that letter forward and backwards many times. She was very touched and sweetly said, Marshal brother, please talk about the situation at the time. Zhao Qiansun replied, I remember that scene like it was still in front of my eyes. The memories of it were like it happened yesterday. Marshal's sister had combed your hair into 2 braids, each one tied by a red string. That day, Shufu taught us the move Stealing Dragon Switching Phoenix. Granny Tan slowly shook her head and said, Marshal brother, Elder Shu is not asking about our past. Marshal brother once had participated in the bloody battle at Shuguqian, the Quarry Stone Valley, outside Yanmen Guan Pass. Marshal brother, please tell everyone what the situation was like at the time. Zhao Qiansun shakily said, Outside Yanmen Guan Pass? At Quarry Stone Valley, His complexion suddenly changed color. He suddenly turned towards the southwest direction, where there wasn't a single soul, and started running away. His lightness skill was strong and fast. He ran all the way into the forest, and it would be hard for anyone to catch him. So everyone started to yell, Mr. Zhao Qiansun, don't run! Please, come back! Zhao Qiansun paid them no heed, and ran even harder. Suddenly, there was a loud ringing sound. Marshal brother's head is now gray. Your smiling face is now crooked, different from years past. Zhao Qiansun immediately halted, turned around and asked, Who said that? That other person continued, If it is not so, then why upon seeing Grandpa Tan do you feel inferior, turn tail and run away? Everyone looked to see who spoke, and it was Chang Guanqing. This is the leader of the rebellion. Oh no! Is that it? Oh, we don't get to the good part yet. Oh, sorry guys. Zhao Qiansun angrily yelled back, Who felt inferior? His kung fu is only good for standing there to take punishment and not hit back. How is that better than me? All of a sudden, on the other side of the forest, an old man's voice was heard. Taking punishment but not dishing it back is the hardest kung fu to learn under heaven. It is not as simple, no? And we're done. And we're done. Damn it. We don't get to see what's in the letter yet. All because this love triangle, this old love triangle is happening. Okay. That was like half of the chapter. They gotta build up the suspense. Why they gotta drag it out like that? All right. Did you guys like that? How was it? All right. So what happened? A bunch of people came. All right. Elder Shu came. He's like a old retired elder. Madame Ma came. Okay, the widow of the person who died. The three people, the love triangle, the 3 old people came, and the iron-faced judge with his 5 sons came. Okay, so they were there to, apparently they were there to be witnesses. That's why they were called there. Okay. There was some letter that was of great importance. Okay, and it was so important that these people felt like they needed to bring all these people to come as witnesses, right? So it must be something very important in the letter. But we don't get to find out what it is until next chapter. What's the drink tonight? I don't have anything. I have beer. I have to open it. I'll buy some liquor for next week, okay? What a tease. True. All right. Yeah, well, tune in next time, okay? It should be good next time. We should find out. Unless it takes the whole chapter next time. We should find out what's in the letter. What kind of beer do I have at home? I have Heineken at home. That's all I have. Heineken is pretty good. Yeah, I'm okay with Heineken. All right, guys. Thanks for joining. I love you, and I'll see you next week, all right? Bye.